Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel, and today we are checking out the 2009 Star Trek movie. Now, I have seen this movie before. I've actually seen it a few times and I wasn't originally going to watch it on the channel because of that. But since I have seen every single of the original Star Trek movies from 1 to 6 with the original cast, and then 7, 8, 9, 10 with the TNG crew, along with some TNG and some the original series which I just wrapped up on the channel, I thought it would be cool to go back and watch this newer trilogy of Star Trek movies starting with Star Trek 2009 and see where the differences lie and where the similarities lie. Now, I love this film. I have this very big nostalgia bias towards this movie. I'm going to watch this movie and still love this movie come out of it. I know a lot of people dislike this movie and dislike this trilogy as a whole, but I need you all to be aware that I have this very big bias towards this movie and I absolutely love this thing. So I'm going to try and give this movie a little bit of a better rap than it has right now, while still kind of pointing out the differences hopefully between this movie and the rest of the older Star Trek stuff. So this movie reaction is not really going to be a reaction, it's more so going to be a commentary and hopefully some form of analysis while I watch the film. And before we get into this reaction, let me do the lighting. So let me turn the light. We said what color it should be. Boop! Nice, nice, nice. Okay, so the lighting today, I'm actually going to go green because the villains of this movie, the Romulans, I'm pretty sure, and that guy, his name's Nero, I think he has like this very green looking ship. So I'm going green. I'm going to make it a little darker in honor of Nero today. And if you'd like to check out more of my reactions, you can head over to my Patreon of uncut reactions to many of the movies I watch on YouTube, so the early access reactions to my movies that come out 1 week early. Thank you so much if you check it out. Let's get back to the video. Okay, so let's get into this thing. Just a reminder, I have seen this movie a bunch of times, so there will be spoilers in this video. If you haven't seen this movie and for some reason you are watching this along with me, or if you're watching this along with me for the first time on my uncut reactions on Patreon, then just be aware that I know what's going to happen and I will be spoiling stuff in this movie just because I have seen it so many times. Anyways, let's get into this thing. I hope you enjoy my reaction to Star Trek 2009. The score for this movie is insane and no one can deny that. Imagine not seeing Star Trek for so long and then you hear this score soothe its way into the movie theater, introducing you to new Star Trek. Oh my god, I'd get chills in the theaters, guys. Oh, I love that sound effect. Wee 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 wee.
USS Kelvin, go for Starfleet.
Already we got 5 million lens flares.
Negative, Lieutenant. You're 75,000 kilometers.
Captain, are you seeing this?
Oh, I'm seeing it all right, buddy. I quite like the design of this ship.
I have a reading. They've locked weapons on us.
Red alert! Torpedo locked on us at 320.
Oh, hello, Chris, Mr. Hemsworth. Oh my god, it's so chaotic. It's definitely the most chaotic I've... I love the use of sound there, though. It's definitely the most chaotic you'll see a Star Trek battle.
Send shields at 9, we're dropping.
All remaining power to forward shields.
Like, it really puts you into the experience of being shot at to death, basically.
Get off the ship.
Aye, Captain.
You're captain now, Mr. Kirk.
Oh, and everyone's like, he's not Kirk. I thought Chris Pine was Kirk. You have to also hand it that they do use a lot of practical sets for inside the Enterprise and stuff. It's like a massive butthole opening.
Look at this ship.
It looks like a squid, doesn't it?
Do you know the location of Ambassador Spock?
Who?
Where you from?
Poor guy. Poor guy actually gave them answers and then just died.
Team, we're evacuating.
Yes, sir.
I have to admit, the ship battles are pretty cool in this movie.
Get to the hangar!
That's a big one.
This is really the worst timing for you to have a child. I know you can't control it, but still.
Right here.
Like, Kirk has been a troublemaker since being in the womb, basically.
So, no, just go. Take off immediately. That's an order. Yes, sir.
I like that he hesitated until he said that's an order too. Even when he said take off immediately, he still went, like, paused until he heard that's an order. That was cool. A nice little touch.
Get on the ship. You have to be here.
The shuttles will never make it if I don't fight them off.
Sure.
This is one of my favorite scores from the movie. I love how it just becomes Giacchino's score and there's just a silence with these moments. Oh, it's so good, dramatic. It's so awesome. Always puts me on the edge of my seat. Literally always get chills during this moment. And then the first sound we hear, again that's not muffled, is the baby cry. It's our protag being born.
What is it?
Boy.
It's our baby, idiot.
I love you so much. I love you.
Oh. You know what? At least he damaged his ship a lot, you know? Sacrifice worth it. Bana, na 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 na. Oh god, the music is so good in this movie. It's so big and epic and orchestral and I can't believe they're still at ringtone, and I also can't believe Nokia is a thing in the future.
Is there a problem, officer?
And divided by non-excludability and non-rival 4/3 pi times the radius.
Do you think they just told these kids to say really big words?
Presume you've prepared new insults for today?
Affirmative.
I love Vulcan bullying, it's so stupid.
Launch requires physical stimuli. He's a traitor, you know. Your father.
That was the weakest push of all time, bub. Spock. He deserves to do that. He shouldn't get in trouble for this. He wasn't emotional, you know, he was just being logical. He's like, this guy's being mean, I fight him. That's a logical progression.
As ambassador to Earth, it is my duty to observe and understand human behavior. Marrying your mother was logical.
And out of love. Come on, say that too.
Which path will you choose? This is something only you can decide.
I like having the younger versions of the characters first, because for audiences who have never seen Star Trek, it introduces you to their personalities, and in this case Spock's issues with being half Vulcan, half human at the start of the movie, so you understand it throughout.
You need to be anxious. You'll do fine.
Hold on, is that Winona Ryder?
Okay.
Is that Winona Ryder? I've seen this movie so many times that I haven't recognized her.
Applied to Starfleet as well.
It was logical to cultivate multiple options.
Backup school.
It is truly remarkable, Spock, that you have achieved so much, despite your disadvantage.
Oh my god, what a slap in the face, backhanded compliment.
Council. Ministers, I must decline.
No Vulcan has ever declined admission to...
Well, I'll be the first, punk.
Ministers, for your consideration, live long and prosper.
Oh, he said this so angrily, I love it. I don't think that guy gets enough credit as being Spock. He had huge shoes to fill, and I think he does a really good job in the 3 movies and playing Spock and getting all his mannerisms and stuff, and still making the role his own as well.
Don't you at least want to know my name before you completely reject me?
I'm fine without it.
I love the guy in between them.
It's Uhura.
Uhura? No way. That's the name I was going to make up for you.
Linguistics. You have no idea what that means.
Study of alien languages, morphology, phonology.
Smarter than he looks.
Beyond belief. But it's nothing I can't handle.
You could handle me. That's an invitation.
Hey, who's this guy? Her boyfriend though? Like, I've never understood. Why are you defending him? Or her? Why are you defending her randomly? This guy should get suspended from Starfleet forever.
You alright, son? You can whistle really loud. Who am I, Captain Pike? Your father's son.
Well, obviously.
So your dad dies, you can settle for a less than ordinary life. Or do you feel like you were meant for something better? Something special?
Don't we all? Don't we all? Would you guys join Starfleet if it was real?
Including your mother's. And yours. I dare you to do better.
I dare you to do better too, Kirk. It's actually a sexy looking ship. Is any of those drums just going off? I always forget about that, and it's always funny every time.
Boils in 13 seconds. Solar flare might crop up. Cook us in our seats. And wait till you're sitting.
He's really good at making you feel safe.
McCoy. Leonard McCoy.
Leonard McCoy. Leonard McCoy. I've always wondered, what's he thinking about right now? Like, what is he mulling over in his head?
I'm gonna make him watch.
Yeah, definitely a worse torture.
Welcome back, Spock.
Welcome back. I'm so proud that I can do this now. After so much Star Trek, I can finally do it.
No one passes the test, and no one goes back for seconds, let alone thirds. I gotta study.
But why? Why not? I feel like I would want to take a test that's unbeatable to see how far I can get.
You're gonna fail.
Galen, see you around.
Get out.
If I pass, will you tell me your first name?
No! Good night.
Still 3 years later.
Captain.
2 Klingon vessels have entered the neutral zone and are locking weapons on us.
I was just thinking about it, that like sex scene sort of thing. It doesn't really need to be in this movie, to be honest with you. It could be taken out and not much would change.
Ship's being hit. Shields at 60%.
I understand.
Well, should we, I don't know, fire back?
Where did he get that apple from?
Armed photons, prepare to fire on the Klingon warbirds.
Yes, sir. Jim, their shields are still up.
Are they?
Are they? Oh, they're not.
All ships destroyed, Captain.
Begin rescue of the stranded crew. So, we've managed to eliminate all enemy ships.
How is everyone not impressed? This is the first time anyone's ever done this.
How the hell did that kid beat your test?
I do not know.
I love that it's Spock's test too.
James T. Kirk, step forward. Cadet Kirk, evidence has...
You'd also think they would tell Kirk before this, right? Like they'd give him notice that here's a court case against him.
I mean, you programmed it to be unwinnable.
Your argument precludes the possibility of a no-win scenario.
I don't believe in no-win scenarios.
No, but they exist.
And maintain control of oneself and one's crew. This is a quality expected in every Starfleet captain.
Yeah, it's a test where you're gonna die at the end, but we need to see it. You're in control. It's actually a good idea for a test. Also, it's very interesting to see what they do with the differences in characters, considering that this is also a different timeline. It's kind of cool that they made it a different timeline, because then if you don't like the movies, you can just dismiss them, you know? So it's a win-win, really, for Star Trek fans.
Come with me.
Literally best friend.
Enterprise. I'm assigned to the Farragut?
It was an attempt to avoid the appearance of favor.
No. She's very convincing with her words.
I'm doing you a favor. Couldn't just leave you there looking all pathetic. Take a seat.
The Enterprise is like the 5-star hotel of Starfleet.
Would you like to explain to Captain Pike why the Enterprise warped into a crisis without one of its senior medical...
And they're gonna need the senior medical officer.
I might throw up on you.
That's pretty cool. You can see all the ships docked too. Oh my god, it's so sexy. This is very reminiscent of the Kirk flyby Enterprise in the motion picture. Oh my god, what a shot. I love that so much.
Pomp and circumstance that we can afford today. Our christening will just have to be our reward for a safe return.
Oh yeah, Sulu and Chekhov too. I think as much as you may disagree with the action in this movie, and how this movie is just an action movie, you have to admit that the casting is insanely good for each and every character. I love watching all the ships go. But this mistake Saves their lives. Isn't that crazy?
I'll figure it out. I'm just... Have you disengaged the external inertial dampener?
That would be so embarrassing. I'm so sorry.
Medical bay. This isn't worth it. A little suffering's good for the soul. Hey, how are you? My mouth is...
He is still trying to go for the girls.
Unbelievable.
You know, if you had a shot
at maximum
every time a lens flare appeared, you would be dead within the first 5 minutes of this movie.
Yes, sir. Happy to. Answer authorization code 95.
We 2.
Planet was experiencing seismic activity. Our mission is to...
Should we choose to accept it?
We should be arriving at Vulcan within 3 minutes.
We should be arriving in Vulcan. Vulcan.
Oh, good God, man. What? Ah!
Yeah, I think they're kind of sexy.
Stop it!
So sad that Horror's working down here to start. Like, get her up to the crew. Get up to the bridge.
Romulan.
Romulan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Ah, stop!
This drill has such a fatal flaw. Like, if you just shoot it, boom, it's just done. Their plan is over. Like, why has no one shot it yet?
You saved the bridge.
By recommending a full stop mid-warp during a rescue mission.
It's not a rescue mission, listen to me, it's an attack.
Yeah, like it's a suicide attack.
Sir, I read your dissertation. That ship, which had formidable and advanced weaponry, was never seen or heard from again.
Until now.
Base, and at 2300 hours last night,
there was and the Horus had the Klingon thing. That's kind of cool, actually.
The cadet's logic is sound. And Lieutenant Uhura is unmatched in Xenolan.
He must be a little peeved.
Uhura, all 3 dialects, sir.
Uhura, relieve the lieutenant.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Uhura, let's go. How are you a lieutenant and you can't read Romulan, you idiot?
Emergency invasive. Bring main import.
Oh, it's so cool.
Engineer Olsen, report.
I love how heavy everything feels, like how slow everything is.
Shield.
Oh, not the Enterprise, man.
Magnify!
Yes, sir.
He's like Spock's on that ship.
I'm Captain Christopher Pike. To whom am I speaking?
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
I always love that line delivery. Hi, Christopher. It's like he's at an AA meeting.
Unlikely.
Captain, we gain nothing by diplomacy. Going over to that ship is a mistake.
I too agree. You should rethink your strategy.
I understand.
I love that they're already working together.
Come with me. Kirk, you too. You're not supposed to be here anyway. Check off.
He's basically saying, Kirk, if you die, it's okay, because you're not supposed to be here. Imagine you dropped that syringe. Oh my god, you would be fired for sure.
Kirk, I'm promoting you to first officer.
What?
Captain, please, I apologize. The complexities of human...
He's like, what are you promoting him from? Nothing? Peasant? I am the captain now.
Report.
It's McCoy. Dr. Puri was on deck 6. He's dead.
That is unfortunate.
Officer.
Yeah, tell me something I don't know.
There's some nice camera work in this though. Very engaging, like a lot of movement, very dynamic camera work. It's nothing too crazy or anything, but I quite like it. It keeps you entertained.
Oh yeah.
It's also funny, like 3 main characters in this thing and then 1 rando, and he's wearing red, and maybe an homage to the red shirts of Star Trek.
Good luck.
Oh, it's so sick. There's great use of sound in this movie as well that I'm noticing. Great use of loud music to silence to really emphasize a dramatic moment. And then slowly introduce other sounds to it as well. Of course, it's Mr. Redshirt just being maniac. He obviously doesn't know he's not on the main cast list. Oof, like most of the time, red shirts don't deserve to die, but this one did. You didn't need him anyways. What's Captain Kirk's favorite tool? A Kirk screw. That is such a cool sword. I love that Sulu just brought that on the Enterprise too. He knew he was gonna need it. Lion King moment. Sulu said he was trained in fencing, but it doesn't look like he's doing any fencing techniques.
Bolton has the charges!
Why would you give them to him? Come on.
Kirk Enterprise! They just launched something.
Goodbye, Vulcan.
They're creating a black hole at the center of Vulcan?
Yeah. Yes they are.
Channels all frequencies, maintain standard orbit.
Yes, sir. Where are you going?
To evacuate the Vulcan.
Feels like Vulcan, the planet itself, didn't do much to defend themselves. You know, if you had Scotty, you'd be able to beam you up.
Enterprise, where are you?
A lot of those action zooms where it's far away and then boom, it like pushes in. Do you think if they were following with the same momentum when they got teleported when they hit the ground there, do you think they were still splattered everywhere in real life?
Energize.
I think it's funny that he has like a specific pose that he energizes in. That guy needed to look up. If that guy had looked up, he could have avoided his death.
Hey, right where you are.
My biggest gripe about the mother's death right now. Like, don't stand so close to the edge, buddy. Also interesting, in the original Star Trek and the original series and stuff, Spock had his mother, and so the mother was like this guiding figure and this almost emotional support while his father was very distant from him. But now he doesn't have that connection in this series, which is an interesting dynamic to change for Spock's character. And also they destroyed flipping Vulcan. That's also an interesting change. But I like what the movie does here as well, where it makes Spock confront his human emotions very head on by making something that he just can't ignore. He's in denial with his emotions at the moment, but he's also way too emotional. Their relationship to me is a little strange as well. It just feels like it's something that the movie needed to do because it's a movie, it's an action movie, and there's always a romance in an action movie. It also feels like it just gives something for a horror to do other than just be there to, I don't know, discern dialect, I guess. But it just feels a little rushed, I will be honest.
Christopher, answer my question.
I love how he calls it Christopher. It's so funny. He's like an old man.
It has happened! I watched it happen! I saw it happen! Don't tell me it didn't happen!
But you could go there right now and it would be there.
And when I lost her.
But that's not his point, I guess. He knows that it's out there still because he said he stopped genocide from happening.
Nothing left to discuss.
And Nero came from
War's defenses.
The actual Star Trek timeline, right? Like the one from the movies and stuff, and then he came into this one, the Kelvin timeline.
Technology could theoretically be manipulated to create a tunnel through space-time.
Damn it, man, I'm a doctor, not a physicist.
Same.
Suggesting they're from the future?
If you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth.
Thank you for quoting Sherlock Holmes.
To balance the terms of the next engagement.
There won't be a next engagement. By the time we've gathered, it'll be too late.
Yeah, I agree.
Say he's from the future, knows what's going to happen, then the logical thing is to be
No, he doesn't know what's going to happen anymore.
Today, thereby creating an entire new chain of incidents that cannot be anticipated by either party.
Exactly. This is what Star Trek fans wanted to hear, just in case they didn't like the movie. Spock is so OP with that Vulcan pinch.
Get him off this ship.
Also, I find this so cruel. They literally just deposit him into a barren planet, like miles away from a Starfleet base, you know? like just die here. Literally just rot on this planet, freeze to death, we don't care.
Class M planet, unsafe.
There is a Starfleet outpost 14 kilometers to the...
See, 14 kilometers? Are you serious? Oh look, it's a polar bear. So cute. Wait, no, that's an ugly polar bear. I don't really understand why this big creature would want to eat Kirk over the giant ugly polar bear. Maybe because it's never had human before. It's like, let's try it out. Maybe it's like an appetizer before the main course. Go away. Go away, punk. Oh, but look who it is. Hello. Live long and prosper.
Excuse me? How did you find me?
Isn't it pretty lucky? Pretty coincidental.
I have been...
But maybe the universe wants to keep them together, you know?
What do you know about him? He is a particularly troubled Romulan.
I know he is bald.
We outfitted our fastest ship.
The Squidmobile.
Destroyed Romulus.
Looks like your ship wasn't fast enough, buddy. That looks really cool. Ha! That is sick.
It was only seconds for me. I went through the black hole.
And there he was.
As he was helpless to save his planet, I would be helpless.
It's actually worse than death. It actually is worse than death.
Went back in time, you changed all our lives.
Jim, we must go.
So does this mean that Spock from the original timeline always ends up in this timeline?
He proudly lived to see you become captain of the Enterprise.
Captain.
I never saw Kirk's father, I don't think.
Been difficult. Is that a thank you? I am simply acknowledging your difficulties.
It's a thank you.
A curious metaphor, Doctor, as a stallion must first be broken before it can reach its potential.
Oh my god, I want to slap him.
Oh!
I love this little guy so much.
What?
And our last one.
Unless there's another hard-working, equally starved Starfleet officer around? Me. Get it! Shut up! Anything. You can eat like a bean.
Bean.
I could do it with a life form. So, I tested it on Admiral Archer's prize beagle.
Well, I know that dog. What happened to it?
Well, it's not around anymore.
Are you from the future?
Yeah, he is. I'm not.
Well, that's brilliant. Do they still have sandwiches there?
Yeah, that would be the first question I asked too. I love sandwiches.
Beaming aboard the Enterprise while she's traveling faster than light without a proper receiving pad. Get off there! The notion of transwarp beaming is...
This guy adds so much life into every single thing he's in.
It never occurred to me to think of space as the thing that was moving.
You're coming with us, right?
See, what I wish they had done better with that is it just, he doesn't actually do the equation, you know? Like, he does the equation in another universe, and we know he had the theory for it, but he doesn't actually do it in this universe.
To stop Nero, you alone must take command of your ship. How?
He's just like, I'm too old, I don't want to do this anymore.
Planet. I can tell you, I am emotionally compromised.
I think people should have just taken Spock out of command immediately when the planet was destroyed, really.
You can't come with me, go on.
The poor guy. Live long and prosper.
Live long.
Yeah.
And prosper.
Yeah.
Scott, can you hear me?
It's so unfortunate.
You all right?
My head's buzzing and I'm soaked, but otherwise I'm fine.
Come with me, Cupcake.
I bet he thought he was so tough.
That doesn't make you angry.
Are you a member of Starfleet?
Yes. Can I get a towel?
Under penalty.
Yeah, can you give him a towel?
I'd rather not take sides.
Oh my days, you little cheeky monkey.
It must not even compute for you. You never loved her.
That was the last straw. He loved her too much. Spock's hit sounds are deeper than Kirk's too, making him feel way more powerful.
I like this ship. You know, it's
I love him.
Captain.
So do I.
I like that, so do I, because it shows that he's not all cocky, you know?
I'm grateful for this. And for you.
See, this is very different than Sarek in the show.
To stay invisible to Nero or he'll destroy us. If Mr. Scott can get us to warp factor 4 and...
Mr. Scott just cleaning his ears. Finally, someone gave him a towel.
Oh, good. He's 17.
Doctor, Mr. Chekhov is correct.
Yes, Spock is back. Also interesting, in this timeline, Spock knows that Romulans and Vulcans are the same, but in the original series, Spock was much older, yet he still didn't know of the similarities until that one Romulan episode.
All stop in 3.
I love what it looks like at warp. Oh my god, that is so cool!
Good luck.
A kiss goodbye. Literally a makeout session on the teleporter. Come on, Spock. We're on a time limit here.
So our first name's Leonard. I have no comment on the matter.
That was not the cargo bay. Huh. I love their pistols, their phasers. I love how it changes to red and blue. Poor San Francisco, man.
Move! They have activated the drill.
You think if the hole was big enough, they could drain
So please tell me you have them.
Bay area.
Otherwise, we won't be able to beam them back.
Kirk and Spock.
Be like a giant sink drain.
Welcome back, Ambassador Spock.
Oh, that's weird.
Kirk's, that's weird. Oh, I never noticed that before.
Startup sequence initiated.
The music right now? He's trying to be Batman, just standing there.
Nero, order your men to disable the drill or I will...
Jeez, that scared me. I forgot that happened. Oh, the squid machine is in the air.
A life I will deprive you of, just like I did your father.
Tell him how he dies, though. He dies under a bridge. See, look, that's what I'm saying. You just get one ship, you just shoot the drill, their plan is over.
The ship! Take it out!
Sir, if you ignite the red matter...
I want Spock dead now!
Yeah, if you ignite all the red matter, biggest black hole you're ever gonna see in your life.
He went to warp! Go after him! Yes, sir!
Kinda smart, bringing the fight away from Earth, though. It's a sick warp, though.
The red matter will be ignited.
Understood.
Yeah. Oh, this is so sexy. Oh yeah, look at that. That's so cool. Oh, every time that happens, chills. Oh man, Enterprise is sick. Beam me up, Scotty. Beam me up, Scotty. Yes, sir. It worked, man. Let's get out of here now.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, someone please give him credit. Oh my god, that is such a cool looking shot.
You show them compassion may be the only way to earn peace with Romulus. It's logic, Spock. Thought you'd like that.
Not in this case.
I would rather die in agony than accept assistance from you.
You got it.
That was so cold. Oh. Like the angelic opera. Oh, that's so cool.
Sulu, let's go!
Let's go home, boys! Such a cool shot, too.
pretty well has got us!
Go to maximum warp! Push it!
I'm giving her all she's got, Captain!
Warp 10, let's go. No, warp 11 even. Let's do warp 11, let's push it.
Do it! Do it! Do it!
I mean, you're gonna die anyway, so you gotta do it. Oh. Oh, the music, the visuals, it's all sexy. It's all sexy. Look at all these red shirts. It's cool that they had the old Spock and now the new Spock interacting with each other.
Of a friendship that will define you both in ways you cannot yet realize.
In real life, aren't they not friends? Like, didn't William Shatner not go to Leonard Nimoy's funeral?
Farewell would appear oddly self-serving. I shall simply say, good luck.
Good luck. Yeah.
This assembly calls Captain James Tiberius Kirk.
Captain, you hear that? Captain.
To Admiral Pike, USS Enterprise, for duty as his relief.
Yeah. Space, the final frontier.
And shields on standby.
Dock control reports ready, Captain.
Oh, the yellow shirt. Oh, yeah.
At maximum, Captain. Get down!
No, I will not get down.
It would be my honor, Commander.
They're all together. On to the next mission.
Space.
The final frontier. I like that they got Leonard Nimoy to do this as well. Still a pretty good movie. I'll be honest, I noticed a little bit more watching it this time around, especially in terms of old to new stuff. But overall, I still had a really good time with this. Some crazy fun space battles, visuals and stuff like that. But it is missing that slower connection, like exploration of the universe style and approach that the older Star Trek had. But it is still very similar to like the newer TNG movies. You know what I mean? Where they became a little bit more action heavy. So it's just kind of, I guess, where the series was heading, and it also came out in a time where action movies were the thing, you know what I mean? And that was my reaction to Star Trek, the 2009 sci-fi action movie. Really not actually reaction, more of a commentary starring Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, Simon Pegg, Zoe Saldaña, Leonard Nimoy, Karl Urban, John Cho, and Anton Yelchin. Rest in peace, Anton Yelchin and Leonard Nimoy. Before we get into this review though, if you did enjoy the video, please consider hitting that big fat red subscribe button if you did enjoy the video. Or you know what, if you like Star Trek in general, we got a lot of Star Trek on this channel. Anyways, back to the review. This review might be a little different than most because I have seen this movie so many times. It's kind of just me more so going to be rambling about the things I like about this movie and then the things that are different than the original series, or maybe the things that don't quite work. But again, I had so much fun with this movie, watching it now for the 12th, probably 12th, 13th time in my life. I just find this movie super entertaining. I think the score is amazing. I love how loud and crazy, but also sort of full of magic the score is by Michael Giacchino. He's a great composer. I think the visuals still hold up really, really well. They look amazing. Some of the most beautiful shots of the Enterprise in this movie. Some of the coolest space battles in this movie. Granted, there are a lot of them, but every single space battle is so much fun to watch. And yes, this movie is very heavy on the action, and it is very different than the original series or even the original 6 movies, because the TNG movies definitely start to delve into more action-oriented movies. So watching this movie, if you watched the 10th Star Trek movie right before it, there wouldn't really be too much of a difference, because Star Trek Nemesis and Star Trek are very similar in terms of they are just kind of action movies, and the villain of Star Trek Nemesis, Tom Hardy's character, does kind of look very similar to the villain of this Star Trek movie as well. So it was kind of just like the trajectory of the timeline of the franchise, where it was just kind of getting towards a more action-oriented franchise, and that's also because of the way movies were being made action movies were the things that were making a lot of money, especially in the late 90s all the way up to 2010s and stuff like that. But I think if you made Star Trek now, I think you could get away with a more intellectual and philosophical based film, because I think those movies are starting to become the new it. Like, think about Dune, for example. Dune made a lot of money in the movie theaters and was generally well received by a lot of people, yet that is a very slow burn philosophical movie, and I think those movies are starting to become the new it crowd, if you will. And so maybe Star Trek is gonna start turning back into a more philosophical mindset that it used to be in the original series. But before we get into everything, let's just look at the reviews very quickly, because the reviews actually surprised me quite a bit. And then we're gonna get into the score of this movie, some of the stuff that I liked, and the things that I will granted say do not work in this movie. Okay, so 7.9 out of 10 on IMDb and 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. So it has a really good score. This is honestly one of the better scores for a Star Trek movie, which was very surprising to me, because again, I get a lot of comments on my Star Trek videos, especially when I was doing the movies, that this trilogy is really bad. And I had already seen the trilogy by that point, and so I was kind of dismissing those comments a little bit, because I was like, I enjoy these movies. All three of these movies I enjoy. The second one being my least favorite, but all three of them I enjoy quite a bit. And the first one, Star Trek 2009, is still ranked as one of my favorite Star Trek movies after I'd seen all of them. So I took what those people were saying with a grain of salt, but the amount of people who said that this trilogy was bad surprised me. And so seeing these reviews, 7.9 out of 10, especially for audience score, is kind of blowing my mind a little bit. And so it's kind of making me rethink everyone's perspective, at least on this movie. I don't know what the reviews are like, the audience reviews are like for Into Darkness and Star Trek Beyond. I haven't looked at them in a while, but the reviews here are making me think that people actually generally enjoy this movie, and I think that is really cool. I think because this movie takes place in a separate universe, you can kind of detach yourself from being all nitpicky about where characters are supposed to be, what characters are supposed to be doing, how they're ruining the timeline, because they're not in that timeline anymore. And I think that gives the movie and the fans a lot of just breathing room into just relaxing into the movie, into watching this. And it is a very different movie in terms of how action oriented it is. The characters are even a little different than in the original movies. Like Spock is different, Kirk is different, things like that. But it works because it is in a different timeline. And I think when that was said in the movie, I bet a whole bunch of Star Trek fans let out a nice sigh of relief, and then they just enjoyed the movie for what it was, which I think leads to these good reviews, because it was the first Star Trek movie in a while, and I think it is a fairly well-made movie with some great action set pieces, some great music, and overall a fun time. So yeah, the music of this movie by Michael Giacchino is actually amazing. I listen to the score on repeat sometimes. It's one of my most listened to soundtracks. I think especially the song at the very start when Chris Hemsworth's characters, Kirk's dad's character, dies. That song that's like do 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 do, and how all the sound just becomes muffled, and that song just becomes super loud and playing over these really dramatic moments, Kirk being born from the womb and stuff like that, the ship's lasers flying everywhere. I don't know, it's just a very emotional song, but a really great enthralling song that again brings that emotion and the dramaticness, but also kind of, it isn't overly dramatic, you know, it's just like this almost this peaceful song over this very chaotic event, and I love that song so much. But Michael Giacchino also does a great job just with blending these soundtracks together, blending the original series score along with everything else. Whenever the original series score pops in, it is so epic. It's always at the times the Enterprise shows up. For instance, sir, we're picking up a ship, and then boom, the Enterprise comes out, and dun 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 dun. It is so cool. It is so cool. It gives you chills whenever you listen to it. But besides the main theme of the show, which has been translated into the movie, the rest of the score as well is really, really good. You got a nice use of choir in this movie. It reminded me a little bit of Star Wars when it came to choir, but also very different. This one was more ethereal, while Star Wars is more dramatic. And while this one was dramatic as well, again, it was definitely more just like, it felt like a heaven sent angel was singing to me while these things were happening. And I just thought it was really cool. It gets you into the movie, it gets you super excited. The score is bombastic at times, it's very quiet but still epic. Like, the score is always epic. That's the thing, the score is always epic, and Michael Giacchino does a great job of getting you into the mood for these action sequences and stuff because of how awesome his score is for this movie. I think I'll talk about some things that I think don't work with this movie now, because there are a few things, and there's a little confusion thing that I have as well. The biggest confusion thing that I have is that in this movie, Spock knows that Romulans and Vulcans are like from the same species, you know, but in the original series, Spock, who is older than Zachary Quinto, is now playing Spock. He doesn't know that Romulans and Vulcans are from the same species until that one episode with the Romulan commander that I really liked in season 1. And so my question is, I was assuming that this was the same timeline. Oh, you know what? I actually just came to a conclusion myself. Pretend I didn't talk for the last 30 seconds because I don't know why I was so confused about this, but the Romulan ship with Nero on it came before Spock was born, or right before Spock was born, so everything about the world has changed up until that point, so it makes sense why he might have known this beforehand. So pretend I didn't say anything, that just sounds very dumb, is no longer an issue. My biggest issue, I guess, is between Spock and Uhura and that relationship. The relationship just doesn't really work. I think Uhura and Spock's relationship is on screen for about 3 minutes maximum, and 2 of the 3 scenes they are kissing. The first time we see them and they're in a relationship, literally Uhura's like, it's okay, and then kisses him on the lips, and it's like, hold on a second, when was this ever established that we are dating? Okay, I guess we are dating. And then the next scene that they are together, they kiss, and then Uhura's like, you'll make it back, like I'll be watching you and stuff like that. It's, I don't know, it just felt very rushed and very forced. Like every movie back then, every action movie needed a romantic interest, like some male character needed a romantic interest, and I also felt like they didn't really know what to do with Uhura, because even in the show they don't do a lot with her a lot of the time. So I think the movie was like, well, what do we do with Uhura? And so like, why don't we put her in this romantic relationship with Spock for like 2 minutes of the movie? And so that's what they did. I don't know, it just kind of felt like they were pushing her aside, and this relationship was just pushed aside and they didn't do anything with it. I don't know, it just didn't really work for me on any level. It's never really worked for me whenever I watched it, but it didn't work for me the most during this watch. Some other things that I think don't work in favor of this movie are just the amount of lens flares in this movie. I know J.J. Abrams likes his lens flares, but it is comical at times how many lens flares are in this movie. Sometimes you can't even see a character or an actor acting because there are lens flares covering his face. And in space, during the space battles, the lens flares look really cool, but sometimes characters will just be sitting down and talking and there will still be lens flares. Like J.J. Abrams, why do there have to be lens flares there, man? Calm down. And also sometimes the camera work can get a little bit too shaky and you can't really see what is happening. Since I have seen this movie so many times, I understood completely what was happening, of course, because, you know, like 12th time watching. But if you're a first time watcher of this movie, it might be a little confusing during some of the action sequences what exactly is happening, because there's some quick cut shaky cam editing from time to time, but nothing that is out of this world and nothing that really ruins the movie in my opinion. The rest of the camera work though I thought was pretty good. It was just engaging, it was just moving throughout a scene. It was nothing special, there was nothing that I would write home about, or nothing mind-blowing, something like Hitchcock camera work or Stanley Kubrick camera work or something like that. It was just generally good camera work besides some of the shaky cam fights. But I did really appreciate the sets that they built for this movie. They built the Enterprise, and a lot of it like didn't look like there was green screen or blue screen or anything behind it. It looked like a very practical set a lot of the times, and it was so beautiful. The bridge was very clean and crisp. It definitely didn't have that homey feeling that a lot of the older bridges have in the older shows and movies and stuff like that, but it had that modern sci-fi aesthetic that you see all the time now, but it looked practical, and that was the thing that was awesome. Obviously the windows and stuff, probably green screen or blue screen so they can add stuff on in post, but the actual bridge, I'm pretty sure it was like a full-on model and it was on stuff so that it would rock back and forth. Like really cool that they actually built that, and the rest of the Enterprise too, the hallways, the underneath where the engineers would be and stuff like that, all of it looked fantastic. And I thought it was funny too that ILM did a lot of the visual effects for this movie, which we'll talk about in a second. I know I was just talking about sets and and that's not really visual effects, but moving over to visual effects, which were amazing in this movie. I thought it was cool that ILM did the visual effects in this movie because they were founded by Star Wars, you know, they were founded by George Lucas to make Star Wars. So a nice kind of little Star Wars, Star Trek connection for everyone where the same studio made both movies. But the visual effects in this movie as well are so fantastic. Again, some of the most beautiful shots of the Enterprise. The Enterprise looks sexy in this, and maybe I just having nostalgia bias because it is the Enterprise that I've grown up with, but I think the Enterprise looks sexy in this one. Is flying through warp and you see like the white lines going through it and then the darkness of space behind those white lines. It looks fantastic. The explosion, the big blue explosion with the wormhole in the background, the Enterprise shooting from it, and you have that nice wide, the Enterprise, this tiny little speck with this blue line and then this giant blue explosion behind when it's appearing from like the rings of Saturn or the Titan area with the dust over it, and the score swells. Like, it all looks beautiful, and all the space battles as well. As much as the lens flares are covering up some of the amazing effects, the space battles are super intense, are very well done, very engaging, and again, some of the best space battles that Star Trek has to offer are in this movie. So yeah, I think that is going to be it for my review. I think all the casts are really good and very well casted in this movie. I don't think there's one bad casting. I think if you have an issue with this movie, it's not going to be the cast. It could be the writing of a character itself. It could be the plot of the movie. I would definitely give you time to speak for that. But if you mentioned that the cast was bad, I would say no, because I think the cast is cast as perfectly as possible for a rebooted Star Trek movie. And yeah, that is my reaction and review to Star Trek. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much to these wonderful, beautiful, amazing people right here for supporting me and supporting my channel. It really does mean a lot. Yeah, if you don't like this movie, it's okay. You don't like this movie. I like this movie quite a bit. It is still up there as one of my favorites, and I think it goes a long way to say that this movie, even if it is a lot more action oriented than the more philosophical older Star Trek movies, this Star Trek movie alone is the reason why I wanted to start watching Star Trek on the channel, and it is the reason why I got into Star Trek in general, and I think that is saying a lot for the movie itself. So anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time for my next movie reaction.